What is going on, degenerates? Welcome to the Sharp Action Report. It's UFC 292 fight week, and you know what that means. Our favorite guy across the desk, Andrew, joins us from Superbook Sports. He's going to hook us up with all the sharp and public notable action, anything you might want to know, and you can use that information to make the best bets you can for tomorrow's fights. Andrew, my guy, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Super excited for the Sean O'Malley fight. A couple of these fights are super intriguing. Some of the lines are a little bit longer than I like them. I mean, from a booking perspective, you almost hope like there's more pick'em fights. There's a lot of chalky fights on this card, which is what it is, but there's some really intriguing fights. So I'm stoked for this card. We got football coming up again soon. Life is good in the sports world.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a lot going on. Football right around the corner. You know, a degenerate like me, NHL is following not too
Yeah.
shortly there behind it. So I'm excited, man. The coming months are the good ones, and kicking it off right with this big old pay-per-view here this week. I can't wait to get into it. So, folks, as you know, this is Pub Sports Radio. Make sure you hit the like button down there below for me, and make sure you support our guy, Andrew. He gives us this information free every single pay-per-view card. Make sure you show him some gratitude. His Twitter handle's right down there, and check out Superbook Sports. First fight on the card, Morose takes on Karine Silva in a big-time rematch. Looks like this line has been playing a little bit of tug of war, and I'll be honest with you, man, I'm a little nervous. I'm on the Morose side of things. I think it should be closer to pick'em. You could argue she might need to be favored. She's got the experience advantage, and honestly, I just think Karine Silva is, in danger of gassing out in this fight if she doesn't get the finish. And Morose is somebody who's never been submitted. So I think those two things kind of line up, but it seems like everybody else is putting those same 2 and 2 together. And this line hasn't budged, even though everybody is betting on the Morose side of things. And that terrifies me. So what's going on your side of things?
Yeah, you're super accurate on this fight. We opened it at 170 on Silva. It's come down a little bit. We're sitting 150 here in Nevada. We have been getting a good amount of dog money on this fight, which is interesting that it hasn't moved the line as necessarily as much as I kind of figured it would, and the way it's being bet. So yeah, from your perspective, that is probably a little bit nerve-wracking if you have that side. I wouldn't say there's anything that's been too respectable on the dog, but yeah, the book certainly could use the favorite in this spot, which is unlike a lot of the fights on this card. This is one where the dog money has been pretty easy to write. So yeah, that's where we're sitting on the first fight.
Okay. Yeah, man. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. I don't like being on a public dog. I hate it when people agree with me. And the fact that all of the internet thinks Morose is the side and you guys are saying, no, line's good right where it's at. I'm like,
yeah,
shit. So
no,
bracing for impact here, man.
Yeah. You have a couple that I know you're on that I'd say I'm surprised the public hasn't been on, so it's coming up later on this card. I think you'll be happy for some of the information.
Fingers crossed, man. We're going to have to bail it out because it looks like I'm starting the night with an L. All right. Natalia Silva takes on KGB Lee up next. And this is an interesting one here to me because the secret's out on Silva, man. I think this girl is the goods. I knew about it way before anybody else did. The days of betting her at plus 200 are long gone. And it seems like this is kind of setting up a dog or pass spot as far as a bet's concerned. I can't do it. I still think Natalia Silva is going to win this fight, but I think KGB Lee will make it good. I think it'll be a competitive fight. At least she's not just going to get run through or anything like that. But what are you guys seeing? Are you getting nibbles there on the dog on this one?
So yeah, this one's actually pretty interesting. We opened this one up at $3. It inched its way up all the way to $4. We did take a very respected bet on the favorite early. And I was kind of surprised that the number didn't keep climbing. It got as high as $4. And then we did start getting some respected action back on the dog, some nibbles back on the dog. We actually took two really respected bets on the dog, and then the one early one on the favorite. So this is a pretty interesting fight for us because I definitely feel like the dog must be in play because once they saw that number, they snatched it, and it hasn't looked back. Like the number has just been coming back down to now it's exactly where we opened it. So Yeah, it's kind of funny how it ping-ponged around, and now we're back where we started on this one.
Gotta love the number scalpers out there. All right, so a little bit of two-way action there on that one. Gerald Meerschaert takes on Andrei Petroski up next. I got some of the early number there on GM3. I'm seeing he's still around plus 200 in most places. He's down to like plus 185 in some spots, though. So I've got that CLV trophy here in my pocket this week, hoping he comes through for me. What do you guys got going on this one?
Yeah, so we opened this one 290 on Petroski. It has been inching down. We did take a pretty respected bet today on the dog, so the price has come down a little bit. We probably will inch it down a little bit more, honestly. And there hasn't been a lot of dog money in this fight, but the respected bet alone caught our attention. I wouldn't say though that there's been a ton of action on the dog. There has been a lot of parlay money with Petroski and some of these bigger dog or favorites. It seems like a lot of these guys are just being kind of tied into those parlays, and we're going to need hopefully one of these sharp guys to be right and one of these dogs to come clip those parlays, you know. But yeah, that's where we sit now. Today was the first day I really seen anything respected on this fight, and yeah, it definitely caught my eye. So I think you're on the better of the two sides, I'd say.
All right, all right. I like hearing that. Late, sharp money on the dog. That's music to my ears, especially when I've got a better number there on that dog already myself. All right, these next two fights are going to be super interesting. As most of you all know, this is also somehow the tough finale, even though it's a pay-per-view card. Don't know what the UFC is doing here, but we've got Cody Gibson taking on Brad Katona. This was the latest line to be added to the card because we had to watch that final episode of Tough, see who Brad Katona was going to be facing. And we've got Brad Katona a short favorite, about a minus 150 or so. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know very much about Katona in general. I remember his first run in the UFC. I haven't even bothered to go back and retape this one, to be completely honest. It's not one that gets me up out of bed. And there's plenty of other things for me to be studying, like PFL this afternoon right now. I'm just not worried about it. So I'm kind of relying on you. Have you seen anything? What's moved this line? I have no clue what to do with this fight, and I'm probably not even betting it.
Yeah, this is a tough one, I feel like, for everyone to read because, I mean, if you're somebody who follows the lines, it's a tough one to read because it's obviously been short-lived, the line. We've only had it up for a few days. So we haven't really had the best gauge on these two fights, but we're getting some action on both sides. We opened it up at Katona at 160. It's currently sitting 180. We did get some bets on the dog, though, and currently the book needs the favorite. There's nothing that I would really report as super sharp or anything, but there's handle on both sides of the fight. It feels like people have their opinions on both sides, and this is one of the closer fights on the card, like line-wise. It's probably one of the top three closest lines on this whole card. So it's a good two-way action fight, and yeah, the line has only climbed up 20 cents. Action on both sides.
Okay. All right. There you go. Next up, same situation. Kurt Holobaugh takes on Austin Thud Hubbard. I'm a Hubbard guy. I don't know what it is. He's one of these mangy dogs, one of these underdog guys that I root for. Everybody seems to not really care one way or the other, but I'm a fan. I like the kid. I'm happy he's got a shot here to get back into the UFC, and I'm picking him as the favorite here. I got a hard time getting to minus 190, though. What do you like over there?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I like Austin Hubbard in this spot. This is one that we've kind of talked about in the back. Me and the UFC guys. There's a couple guys I know who bet on Kurt. So yeah, it's pretty mixed in the back on this one as well. It's another close-ish line. We opened up Hubbard at 170. It's sitting 180. So no, it's actually sitting 190 here now. So another one that moved 20 cents. I would say this one's pretty similar to the last one. Nothing super interesting to give you guys. I hate that for us, but yeah, action on both sides. The lines climbed to 20 cents. Not too much to report there.
Okay. I think there's bigger fish to fry this week, man. Not a big deal for those two fights to kind of fly a little under the radar for all of us. Back to the chalk, though. Gregory Rodriguez, Dennis Toulian up next. You've got Gregory as a massive, massive favorite, and I've tried to warn everybody, man. Just like Hakeem Dawodu last week, I'm warning everybody this week. Gregory should win this fight 9 times out of 10, but that chin is always a liability for this guy. And he got put down in his last fight, didn't take that much time off, and they're giving him another power puncher. So I think Gregory wins, but there's no way in hell I'm getting to 4-1 minus 350. That's a steep price tag, man. Who's laying that chalk, Andrew? Please tell me.
No, I know. It is. I wouldn't say that we have anybody that is really laying it, but this is a leg that is in every parlay. This is going to be one that I can almost guarantee will be in a majority of the parlays. It's sitting 360 here now. We opened at 350. We haven't really got any pushback on the dog, which kind of, I mean, it surprises me a little bit because, like you said, the guy has some heavy hands and he can mix it up. And I don't think Rodriguez is invincible. You know, like the under is sitting at 190. There's a reason it's sitting there. Obviously, he should get him out of there, but yeah, there hasn't been too much interest on the under, though, just because I think the way we priced it has kind of almost kept people off of it, which is kind of a bummer. Because I could see it going either way. But yeah, we're sitting 190, not too much on the total, and nothing super respected yet. I do think the dog is live personally, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bet on the dog and it adjust the price a little bit before the fight. I wouldn't be too shocked.
Those totals are hard, man. People have been burned before. Like, it should be a 1-round fight, but if Dennis practiced his rear naked choke defense, all of a sudden, you laid 2-1 and we're squeezing into the second round. Nobody has fun with that. That's not a good move.
Yeah, you're freaking out if it starts the second round for sure.
Exactly. All right, Brad Tavares taking on the returning Chris Weidman here. I've seen this line starting to creep down a little. Weidman's getting some love. It can't be me, man. Not at 39 years old. Not off an Anderson Silva leg break. Like, no chance. This is a favorite or pass here for me. Maybe if this was 3 years ago and he didn't have that injury, Weidman would be the side, but I can't do it. Are you seeing love for the All-American here?
So this is one that is very similar to one of the ones I was talking about earlier, the Andre Lee fight. So we opened this one up at 260. We did take a very respected bet on the favorite, Tavares, early. The line climbed up as high as 320 here on Tavares. And then we definitely started getting some big bets on Weidman. I wouldn't say that necessarily we took the most respected bets on Weidman, but we did. That was somebody that it hasn't been hard to get this dog money. Sometimes with these big favorites, the number just doesn't stop climbing. But this was one where it hit a certain number, and now we've been writing money pretty easily on Weidman through the back end of this week. And before this card, he's been a pretty popular play, which like you said, I don't see it. I feel like this is not really a favorable matchup for him at this age. I don't think he's going to be able to dominate him with the takedowns. I mean, we'll see. I just don't really see it. But, yeah, this one is one we actually could use the favorite as of now. Probably could change. But, yeah, I like the favorite, and the book needs the favorite currently.
Okay. I'm there with you, man. I parlayed this guy here. I think Chris Weidman will have early wrestling success. I just don't know that he's got 15 minutes worth of gas these days. And if he struggles with any of those takedowns, then the younger, more active fighter is the one that I definitely want to be there with. So I'm rooting for you guys. Hopefully this is not the parlay buster leg this week. I do have a real quick question for you, though, Andrew. Normally we don't, entertain the chat too much on this particular show, but loyal viewer Dixon Sider is asking, please ask Andrew a personal question for me. Do the bookies believe in the OnlyFans fade?
I heard you talking about it on your podcast. I was cracking up. I mean, I don't think we're digging too much into that, but it is an interesting theory. It is funny. Yeah. Whoever you had on your podcast this last one, you guys had a pretty entertaining podcast, and I was getting a good crack up at a couple spots. But yeah, I haven't dug too much into the OnlyFans fade yet.
Okay, I just wanted to know if that was vital information that the bookies use to set these lines, is who's making the OnlyFans content these days or not.
I might have to talk to John about that one. Maybe it's something he hasn't taught me, and I need to reevaluate how we're doing these lines.
That's probably why the line hasn't moved on Morose, folks. That he's not being honest with you guys. The reason they're accepting all the dog action is because the OnlyFans fade is in full effect here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Back to business. The next fight, man, a big one. Pedro Munhoz and Marlon Chito Vera. This one seems like the UFC knows what they're doing, right? Everybody in this weight class is hurt. If O'Malley happens to be the next guy to wrap that gold around his waist, there's a storyline here for either guy. There's the DQ eye poke for Munhoz. There's the one loss to Marlon Vera. Like, they're setting up that December card real nice here with both these guys being on the same card as Sugar Sean O'Malley. What do you see over there as far as sharper, maybe even public action goes on this one?
Yeah, so this is a tough fight for we haven't really gotten crazy action, so I've kind of been trying to mess with the line and see where people's heads are really at on this fight. I personally think Chito is going to get it done, and I with the line being so steep on this, the over at $3, I think there might be some value on him to get him out of there. I know that both of these guys are really durable, but this is just my personal take. I think that stylistically, Chito will give him some fits for sure. But from a booking perspective, we opened this at 190. It's currently sitting 210. I've been inching it up today just to try to see where, like I said, where people's heads are at. We did take a bigger bet on Munhoz when I started inching it up, and you know how these guys are with the prices sometimes.
Yep.
So yeah, nothing too respected. We did, as I've inched it up, we started writing some Munhoz money, but yeah, currently we need Chito, and I think the book should want to need Chito. Also, this is one that there hasn't been too much interest in the totals. I know last card we did in Salt Lake, man, the total interest was crazy, but this card's been kind of not as popular. But this fight, we did take a pretty big bet on the under, so I thought that was interesting.
Okay, all right. Music to my ears, man. I'm big on the Chito Vera side this week. I think I don't use the L word in MMA, Andrew. I've never used the L word. These are people punching and kick each other in the cage. We've seen toes snap off and go flying out. Like, anything can happen in the sport of MMA. So I refuse to call anything ever a lock. And it's funny because we've got all these big minus 300 price tags this week.
Yeah.
Chito's my favorite. Like, he's a shorter price, and I think this is a tailor-made fight for him, and I'm right there with you. I think Pedro is on the decline, and plus, even if you want to flip the script here, Chito's tough to finish, but Munhoz has got that guillotine. Like, he's got finishing upside too. I think we could see a very, very surprising end to this one. I kind of like violence in this fight, and I'm heavily invested on the Chito side myself.
Yeah, and if you got your tinfoil hat, this is a fight that can fall into that category, you know, like the UFC, if they could get what they want, they would get a Sean O'Malley versus Chito fight.
Exactly.
So in my eyes, I feel like they think that this fight is maybe tailor-made for Chito, which usually when they put their fighters in these situations, that I would say for a majority of the time, it kind of pans out. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think this fight is much easier than the Sean fight, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets him out of there. I really wouldn't.
That's literally, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it, man. That is the point of this fight. It's on the same card. It sets up the storyline. They've been asked it in pre-fight stuff. I know Aljo's going to come out and try and play spoiler, but it's designed for Sean O'Malley to get the belt and to set up the Chito rematch in December. That's literally what this is about. I'm buying. Yeah. I'm here for it. So hopefully no toes get broken off. Let's go Chito. I like that side a lot myself. Next fight up, a weird one. Short notice booking. Mario Batista takes on Damon Blackshear. And I can't help but notice that your line here in Arizona on Damon Blackshear is plus 170. I snagged the plus 190 myself a little bit earlier. So you guys being a bit short, that's got some attention going here. What's going on with that?
Yeah, this is one of the ones I was talking about. This one's got better news for you. So
Let's go.
we opened this one up at a 210 on Batista. Currently, we are sitting. Where are we sitting here? Vegas. We're currently sitting 185, 155 on Blackshear in Vegas. I'd say our most respected bet on this card came this morning on Blackshear. It was actually pretty funny because we were talking about the fights in the back, and I said, man, there's not a lot of dogs that I'm just like really believing in this card, but I think I was saying I thought that Blackshear had a good shot in this fight. I know it's a weak turnaround, but right after that, one of our sharpest bettors came in and bet Blackshear, so it made me feel pretty good about the way I was looking at the fight, and yeah, it should make you feel good about the price you got. And I'm not sure how this fight is going to go. We are a little bit off market, like you noticed. We're trying to write a little bit of Batista money, and it's coming in. I think the longer this fight goes, he'll probably be in a lot of these parlays too. So I'm hoping this can be a parlay buster, and I'm hoping we can get the dog in this fight.
Okay. I like it, man. I like it a lot. I think, personally speaking, Damon Blackshear is the bigger guy, and I think that matters a lot. Bautista's a guy I've been a big time fan of, and he's looked real slick recently, but he's also been fighting like a real low level of like get right competition, and he's made some grappling mistakes even in those fights. I don't know that Blackshear is necessarily going to finish him, but I definitely think he's riding high right now. He's feeling himself, and he's a much cleaner grappler than anybody this guy's faced before. I could see him grinding out a decision, or if there's a cardio concern, Bautista could slow down, maybe a late finish for Blackshear. I definitely like the dog and love hearing there's some sharp with me on that one.
Yeah, the scrambles on the ground are. I mean, if you're interested in that's definitely intriguing in this fight, because I think Blackshear he's a dog on the ground, man. So like we'll see how this fight plays out. I think Batista is obviously a really good fighter, and he should be the favorite. But if you're taking a stab on a dog, I don't hate it in this spot for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Moving right along, folks. Ian Gary takes on Neil Magny. We've got Gary instilled as a minus 500 favorite at this point. The dog Neil Magny you can have for plus 375. And I got to imagine, you know what? Actually, maybe not. Neil Magny is a very, very popular fighter that gets a whole lot of action from people. He's very live in spots. I was going to say this is probably one way, but maybe not. I got to hear what you've got to say on this one. This one could get interesting.
Yeah, I kind of was agreeing with you. I thought we would get some Magni money, but people aren't interested at this point. It hasn't been that way. We opened this one up at 420 on Ian Gary. It's been climbing. It got to $5 today, and I even inched it up higher here to 550. So you can get 4-1 on Neil Magny. I'm just trying to see where people's heads are at on this fight, and if we can get at least some kind of action on Neil Magny, hopefully some respected action. I wouldn't hate it. I definitely think Ian Gary is going to take care of business. And actually, one of the guys in the back, I asked him for his play of the week to give on the podcast, and he said he absolutely agrees with you. Ian Gary inside the distance. He thinks that's his favorite play of the week, and he's a pretty big fan of the UFC. So. Yeah, right now we need Neil Magny, and I'm sure, I hate to be repetitive, but Ian Gary is going to be in every freaking parlay, and I don't see this one being the parlay buster, but I hope it is.
I hope not. This is by far my biggest investment on the card is this Ian Gary inside the distance, man. So I'm tempting fate here a little bit. Neil Magny's my guy. I've gone to war with him more times than I can count because he's always underrated. He's always disrespected. And now here I am, the one disrespecting him. So hopefully I know my guy well enough, and hopefully we get the finish here because I definitely need it in this spot.
But like you said yesterday, I mean, Ian Gary's in a good spot because he's going into this fight up around. So after that press conference yesterday, I don't know where Neil Magny's head is at, because I mean that was an entertaining little press conference. But yeah, I mean I would feel good about Ian Gary in this spot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I like it. Let's go, Ian Gary. Come on, baby. Bring it home. I need a new pair of shoes. Co-main event, everybody. Once again, we are joined by Andrew from Superbook Sports. Please hit that like button for us. Show our guys some love and support. Wiley Zhang takes on Amanda Lemos. And this has been an interesting spot, man. I feel like decent two-way conversation going on here. I'm not sure about the betting. I know some guys taking dog shots here. I know a lot of people very confident here in the favorite. I haven't loaded up or anything like that, but I'm very much in the Zhang inside the distance camp myself personally. And what are you guys seeing as far as sharp action on the other side of the desk?
Yeah, this one falls into the same category as the Weidman fight and the Lee fight from earlier. We opened up Zhang at $3. It started climbing. I think what did it get as high as? It got up to 350, and now it's coming back down a little bit. We have got bets on the dog on this one, so we've got bets on both sides. Obviously, Wiley Zhang is sitting 330, so it feels like an easy piece to just throw in all these freaking parlays. And then I wouldn't say we've gotten too many respected bets on this fight, but we've gotten some large wagers on the dog, which definitely opens my eyes a little bit and just makes me respect that she has a chance. I think Wiley Zhang should take care of business, and I think she's better pretty much everywhere. I think Lemos has great power, and she can maybe catch her, but I mean, in a 5-round fight, I'm gonna think Wiley Zhang is going to just wear her down and take her out. I would agree with you. Inside, I don't know the price of the inside the distance as we're sitting here right now, but if you can get decent value on that, I could see her knocking her out or grinding her out and then submitting her. Like, neither of those would shock me at all.
Yeah, I think the wrestling upside is huge here. And I definitely think the cardio upside is going to be an issue. I don't think Zhang finishes her early. I mean, obviously she's incredible. She could, but I do think she's going to have to kind of avoid those first 2 rounds where Lemos is incredibly dangerous, drag her late, slow her down. And then I do think she finds the sub personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like an exhausted ground and pound TKO, or
Yeah,
even if Zhang just catches her with something big, because she's a clean striker too, man. It's not like she's a slouch on the feet.
no, for sure. I mean, Lemos does have the equalizer with that power, and like you said, the first 2 rounds. So I mean, that's all. I mean, that's what you got to worry about. If you're on Lemos, yeah, I mean, it feels like she kind of. I wouldn't say has one path to victory, but I think the earlier the fight it is, that's where her bigger chances are at.
Completely agree. Completely agree. All right. Main event time. This is the big one. This one everyone's been waiting to hear. I went ahead and I put everything out there, man. I picked up my nuts. I put them on the table, and I've got a huge bet on Sugar Sean O'Malley this week. I know that's the casual side. I know that's the sucker side here in this spot, but I'm absolutely buying in at this stage of his career. I live bet Sean O'Malley on the Piotr Jan fight live as he started to turn the tide in that fight. The UFC, again, we talked about it. This is clearly a spot where they are hoping that Aljamain will pass the belt on to an absolute stud and star in Sugar Sean O'Malley. So I'm buying it, man. I'm taking the narrative, and I'll play it. We got plus 200 on the dog, Sean O'Malley. All the sharps in the world are saying this is the cheapest price on a champion. Sterling at minus 250. Lay everything you got on him. And I don't want to disrespect the champ. I completely get it. That's probably value on the number. But I think by hook or crook, Sean O'Malley gets his hand raised on Saturday.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned the live, because we were actually talking about this one in the back, and I'm like, it just feels like a fight where you kind of will know what's going to happen after watching a round. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like once you see the game plans of these guys, I feel like this could be a really good spot to get in live. And it's funny that you brought that up, because I'm like, maybe I'll just sit off on this fight and see if Sean looks like he can kind of hang in the grappling exchanges, maybe I could get in live on this one. But yeah, so I thought that was funny. But we opened up this one all the way in October of last year, and we opened the line at 250. It's currently sitting 250. So that was one that feels like is the perfect line, and it feels like if it hasn't moved in almost a year, it probably won't move too much before this fight goes off. Early on, we were getting a lot of Aljamain Sterling money, like when we opened that way out then. But I mean, obviously, as the fights come closer, you're gonna get the sugar money,
Of
and
course.
it's been coming in hot. So we do have some good liability on O'Malley, and there's been people betting him. I hate to say it, but I don't have anything to give you guys with the too much of a respected side on this. I feel like this line's about exactly where it's going to be at, unless maybe the books get flooded with O'Malley money. But yeah, currently we need the champion. My heart wants O'Malley. I think I like Aljo a lot too, but I mean O'Malley, if he could be the champion, it would be so incredible for the
It'd be
sport.
much better for the sport if Sean O'Malley
Yeah.
wins this fight.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not even trying to like hate on Aljo. I think Aljo is awesome, and it wouldn't shock me if Aljo just takes him down and gets on his back. It wouldn't. Nothing would shock me in this fight. So, yeah, I cannot wait for this fight.
Absolutely. And this is definitely maybe the most sharp versus square spot on the entire board this week. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up going. But man, it takes me back to like a couple years ago when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. You remember that, where they were wearing the dog masks and the
Yeah,
public just pounded the books because
yeah,
it didn't matter. It doesn't matter how many smart people sit up there and tell you the favorites are going to win and they should be a 2-1 favorite and there was no chance. And it was the Eagles' year. It was their season. They were going to win. Everybody with a TV at home knew it, and the bookies paid for it because they didn't care about the intelligence. And every once in a while, I feel like you got to throw the rule book out. This feels like a throw the rule book out spot to me, man. I think Sean gets it done on Saturday.
yeah. I'm with you, and I saw something on social media that said like O'Malley's beat one guy who's on the active roster. I'm like, sometimes it doesn't matter, you know. If he goes in there and catches Aljamain Sterling, would that shock you? I mean, he has quick hands and heavy hands for the weight class, and he could definitely catch him. No, I mean, and I think he can win a decision if he can keep up with the grappling and keep it on the feet. So yeah, it's gonna be an awesome fight. I mean, I'm really
Absolutely.
looking forward to that one. This fight really saves this card, in my opinion. It's an awesome fight.
I can't wait. I can't wait. This is going to be so good. And I see the chat already exploding. Everybody going to war. O'Malley versus Aljo. You love to see it, folks. We got all the sharp info we could possibly handle. Again, huge thank you, Andrew, to you for your time today. If you've got anything going on, promos, other shows, podcast, meet and greets, or anything you want to shout out, now's your chance, man.
As of now, this is my one and only podcast. I like doing this one. I'm a little nervous to go out and do it more. But yeah, this is a fun one. I love coming on your show and talking about the fights with you, man. It's I feel like we've come a long way. I hate that I couldn't give you guys any of the big guy plays this week. I know he's been on a little bit of a heater if you've been keeping up with his plays on Clint's shows. Yeah, if you guys want to look at our lines and our odds boosts that we're gonna have up, feel free, sign up with Superbook. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't yet. Reach out if you guys want any of these early fights, like that Sean O'Malley fight we got up almost a year ago, and we took a lot of action early. So this fight is going to have a tremendous amount of handle. And yeah, thanks for having me on again, man. I really appreciate it.
Every time, man. Love to do it. Let's go. I love to have you on the show. This is great for the people, great info, and I just like talking fights with you. So definitely appreciate the time, folks. We will be back for the undefeated post weigh-in show tonight. We will go live right after the ceremonial weigh-ins. Unless I'm mistaken, the ceremonial weigh-ins are at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So look on YouTube, check it out. I should be going live 5:36-ish, something like that. It depends on the personal schedule. It might be a little later. I didn't realize they were so early today, but check that out on YouTube. We'll definitely set it up. Smash the like button on your way out. Good luck. Don't lose too much money on baseball. We got big ass fights tomorrow. Kick some ass. We'll see you soon. Let's roll.